Being in this new facility, we didn't have this last winter, so this has been huge for us. They're out there every day just working on their craft. It's all about connection right now. Obviously, at this point in time, you want to get bigger, stronger, faster, all those type things, and really work on the mental side of the game. You know, how disciplined can we be to give ourselves a chance for the next fall.
Welcome back. Tony Pike here, another episode of From the 513, getting a chance to talk to the head coach of the Cincinnati Bearcats, Scott Satterfield. Coach, let's just start kind of in this off-season mode right now, which there really is no off-season in today's college sports. But how has the off-season gone up to this point for your team?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going good. I think, you know, where we're at in college football now, this time of year is just trying to learn our guys. I mean, we got probably 44, 45 new players right now, almost half your team. But, you know, high school guys are early enrollees. You got 14 of those guys. We got 22 portal guys coming in, and some new roles for guys that were on our team last year. So it's all about connection right now. Obviously, at this point in time, you want to get bigger, stronger, faster, all those type things, and really work on the mental side of the game. You know, how disciplined can we be to give ourselves a chance for the next fall.
You mentioned new roles. Nick Cardwell, Pete Thomas, co-offensive coordinators. VJ Stingley has stepped into the wide receiver coach role. When you make those types of moves, talk about the evaluation process and what those coaches have brought to this football team in order to be promoted.
Yeah, I mean, I think for them, they've done a great job over the years, and they've continued to grow and elevate their position on the staff. I think this is a good time for, I think, Coach Cardwell as the O-line coach, and really get more involved in the run game stuff, and Coach Thomas in the passing game, and they work great hand in hand within our offense. And Coach Stingley's been with me for a while now, time at Louisville and now over here, and for him just to, you know, take over the whole room. He's ready, been ready. I think he does a great job in recruiting, but also developing wide receivers. He spends a ton of time in that. So I think for them, it's just another part of their career where they're able to elevate their career and continue to move on. I think they're great young coaches and obviously going to have bright futures.
Quarterback room looks a little bit different than this time last year. Samaj Jones is in place. You've got two transfers incoming as well. Just talk about that quarterback room right now and the battles that will be upcoming.
Yeah, there's going to be some good battles, Robbie. You got some new players in there. You know, J.C. French coming in from Georgia Southern, a very experienced player, can really spin the football. I think got a great release, great deep ball thrower. You know, obviously got some different skill set than Brendan had in the last couple of years, so we'll have to do some different things in that regard. You know, and I think Samaj is another year in the system for him. I think he's ready to take that next step as well. This will be big for him, competing this spring as well as in the summer and getting ready to go to the fall. I do think, ever how it shakes out, I do think Samaj will have a great opportunity to play next fall. You know, and JC, I think will have a great opportunity as well. So we'll see where they're battling. Liam's coming in, that's had a good career so far, and for him to come in at this level, he brings a great deal of experience. Also leadership abilities, very smart guy. And so I think it's a good room, good competitive room, and looking forward to see the progression this fall.
If there is one group that you bring back a veteran presence, you look up front on the offensive line, just talk about the luxury that it is. I know you lose players at every level, but to have a core group on the offensive line to say, okay, we know we're here and we know we're starting with that core, how much does that mean to an offense?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to start somewhere, obviously you don't start in the O-line. I think last year, one of the strengths of our team was the offensive line. Started with Gavin Gerhardt. I thought was one of the best leaders I've been around. I think Taryn has really picked right up where he left off. I think he's done awesome so far. You know, he's a very vocal leader, but also leads by example. And he's a big, strong kid. I think he's a really good football player. So now his role could change. He may have to play center. We're going to work him at center and guard. I think Evan's coming back. Evan's a great player as well that can play center and guard. Joe Cotton, I thought, had an outstanding year last year. I think, you know, those are three veteran guys that come, to me, some of the three best guys in the Big 12. You know, right now, you know, who's going to be the next two guys that are on our team? I think we got some great candidates for that, guys that are ready to step in that role. Judea Milan, Lozwinski. I mean, these guys are guys I think can step up and play for us. It'll be a good battle. You know, I think, again, Coach Carwell's done a great job with the offensive line and how we develop and try to find the best five guys to really help that. I think that'll be the strength of our offense and certainly allow the skilled players to make plays.
You lose a Joe Royer. The running back room has flipped a little bit. You bring back one wide receiver that had two or more catches from last year. It's a different landscape in college football, and it's not impossible to fill those roles in one offseason and pick right where you left off. But how do you look as a staff to build that back up with what you've lost in that turnover?
Yeah, I mean, it's a unique time in college football. So, if you need some help, you go out in the portal, you try to find some guys with certain skill sets. I think when you think about running back, we went out and got some guys we think have some good speed. We got some bigger guys. They can pound it if you need to, because you want some different tools in the tool shed. We don't want everybody to look the same. You also have Zion back. I think he's going to be a great running back for us. When you look at the wide receiver room, I think wide receivers are the one position. I feel like across the country there's turnover. Guys are looking to go this and that, but for us it's about different skill sets. Some big guys, maybe some fast guys, smaller guys that are fast, contested catch guys. But we also bring back some guys. I think they're good players as well. So, Gio's a guy that didn't play a whole lot, but I think he'll be in the mix and be a great player for us. Isaiah's going to be a great player for us. Who played last year. So. I do think we got a good mix of guys. Let's see how well we can get them schooled up to what we want. That's what this spring's all about. And as we head into the summer, you mentioned the quarterbacks. Well, you got new quarterbacks, new receivers, and they got to get on the same page. Sure. So they've been on a great job.
Defensive side of the ball, David Rowe is now your cornerback coach, and Nate Woody is your defensive coordinator. You've had a long-standing relationship with Nate Woody. For those that aren't familiar, what is this football team? What is the defensive side of the ball getting from that side?
Yeah, I think, Nate Woody brings a great deal of experience. He's a really good teacher. He understands what the strengths and weaknesses of this defense is. Hopefully, as we're looking, the opponent we're getting ready to play, all right, what are they trying to do to us? Well, we're going to be making tweaks to be able to stop that, whether it be the run or the pass. We know we got to do a much better job of getting after the quarterback. We hadn't done that in the last couple of years, and I think, coming into this season, that's going to be our big aspect. Hey, get after the quarterback, because that's the way to get turnovers. We didn't have many interceptions last year. We got to do a much better job of turning teams over, creating havoc, and you start that by the quarterback, affecting the quarterback. And how do you affect the quarterback? Well, you got to be able to rush the passer, and when you can rush the passer, then it helps the guys in the back end. And I think that goes hand in hand. And I think Coach Woody understands that, and we're going to be able to find out what these guys can do on the defensive side of the ball. And then find out the guys who can rush the passer, and let's let them do that.
You have an All-American returning on the offensive line. You have a guy in Jonathan Thompson who it felt like every game that went by last year, we're talking more and more about Jonathan Thompson. Just talk about the ability to retain. You guys did that last year with Joe Royer and Golday and Dante Corleone. Mm-hmm. I think that speaks volumes in today's world about what you're building inside this facility. What's it mean to you as a head coach to get those meaningful impact players back on the team?
Well, I think that's important. I mean, I think, obviously we want to sign high school players. We signed, 24 this year. So, if you can sign over 20 high school players each and every year, knowing there's going to be some attrition with that, but then the guys that can really play and help you got to keep them. So you got to do things to make them want to be here. And I think the way we run our program, player-led program, they enjoy it. They love the opportunity that we give them as players here and to be able to grow as men and become leaders. And you're seeing that now out of some of these guys, JT and Evan, Taryn. I mean, these guys that have been here a few years now, and they're starting to grow up, which is awesome to see. Simeon Coleman is another one. I mean, Simeon, and I think for us, it's all about building those relationships. Obviously, there's a financial piece to this as well now, this day and age, and so where we're putting our resources a lot of times is on retention, like helping these guys out that want to be here. When these guys, we all know these guys are getting calls at the end of the season. Everybody's getting calls. Their agents are getting calls. We want to be ahead of that and say, hey, look, we want you here. Here's what we're going to do for you. You don't need to look anywhere else. And that's how we're able to keep some of these guys. And, man, it's just a joy to be around them. And I think you take care of them on the financial piece of it, but you also take care of them when they're in the building.
Years ago, at my time at the University of Cincinnati, you didn't have to really worry about the roster overturn. So as the years went by, you felt like things expanded more and you unlocked different parts of the offense. As someone as heavily involved on the offensive side of the ball as you, how do you now work around that? Because there is so much turnover, but you obviously want to keep expanding as an offense. How do you go about doing that?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. You always want to run your scheme, offense or defense, to the talent and ability that your players are. I think as coaches, you're not going to be coaching very long if you don't. Yeah. If you say, here's what we're doing no matter what. Some guys can't do that. Sure. Right? So what is your talent? What are they able to do? And that's what we're finding out in the spring. So we'll run plays this spring that we probably won't run in the fall, and find out what they can do really well, and let's do that. And I think so for us, I thought we took some great strides last year offensively. I mean, I think if you go back and you break down our offense, yards per play and pass and rush, fourth down offense, I mean, red zone offense, I mean, we did a lot of really good things. So for us, let's take those good things that we did, see if our guys can do that and then expand on it. I think we did a good job last year mixing up tempos. The guys were able to play fast. I think that's the things that we'll build off of. Tweak some running game stuff if we need to. And then find ways to get the ball, spread the ball out, pushing the ball vertically and horizontally. I think this year, quarterback-wise, I mean, Swords was a great runner. If JC's playing, not as effective a runner, well, he maybe got to push the ball down the field a little bit more. So I think just certain things that we're going to have to look at like that to see what gives us the best chance to move the ball and ultimately score points.
I'm sure you've already had the conversations, but take me to the start of camp this upcoming season. Meeting number one, you guys are setting goals. You're coming off a season where you get to 7 wins, you get back to a bowl game. Where do those goals start in this upcoming season for this team?
I think for us, and we've already talked about it now, is like, everything that we do has got to be for the team. I think, which is counterproductive in this day and age of sports. It's all about the individual. Everybody thinks about how can I get mine? Well, the best way for you to get yours is to care about your team more than yourself, which is a different way of thinking. And particularly in football, we got 11 guys on the field, on offense, defense, and kicking at any one time. If your teammates don't play for you, you're not going to be able to be good.
Sure.
And the other thing is, if you're not winning games, you're not going to get any accolades. If you're winning games, you're going to get a lot of accolades. You're going to have a lot of all-conference. People are going to be looking at you. The scouts are going to be on you. All the different things are going to happen for you individually. So that's all we're focused on as the team. And everything that we do, every decision that you make on and off the field, think about the team first. That'll be our primary goal as we head into the fall. And then take it one day at a time and see where that's going to get us. I think if you can play together as a team, no matter what your talent level is, I think Indiana was a great indication of that, that you can go out and win a lot of football games.
Take me to the film room, because whether you're recruiting a guy out of the transfer portal or recruiting a high school athlete, it's different. Each position group, you're looking for different things. But as the head coach of the football team, if you turn on a player's film, what are you looking for to say, yeah, that player is a Cincinnati Bearcat, we want him?
Yeah, I mean, I think number one thing that stands out is that, how hard is he playing? Like, you've got to play hard. I don't care what position. Like, we want to see linemen chasing the ball down the field and, knocking dudes out where running back's at, or a defensive player, if he's on this side of the field, is he chasing the ball all the way to that sideline? So to me, how hard are you playing? Because that tells me you love football, if you're playing that hard. So we want to be able to do that. Obviously, you got to be talented. You got to have some skill there. But if you're playing that hard, then I think we can work with you, because now we're going to take you where you are at your skill level, and you're going to get better each and every day. And then we also want smart players. So when we're watching film, certain things that they do, man, that was a good play. That was smart how he did that. So if you're playing hard and you're smart, like, you're going to get better and better and better. And I think that's what we're looking for. I think sometimes necessarily we're not looking, we want some length, obviously, and all this and that. But, man, I want football players. And so if you see guys that play hard and you see guys that are smart, I feel like we can make them into great football players.
Here at the University of Cincinnati, what is it about now, this city? One thing, this room we're sitting in right now, this indoor facility, changes the game so much for you guys. But having been in the city for a while now, what is it about the city of Cincinnati that makes it a desirable destination for these recruits or these transfers to want to come and be a part of, outside of just where they're going to be on a daily basis?
Yeah, I mean, I think, Cincinnati is kind of a sleeping giant city, in my opinion. Having not known anything about it until I got in here. Incredible people. No matter where you go within the city, the people are awesome. Hard-working, blue-collar town, which I think is what we want to be as a football team. But our guys like the fact that, man, they can go into any little segment of Cincinnati and go eat at different restaurants. They love doing that. The opportunity to go take a Reds game in, which is 6 minutes down the road right here. Being in a city with the Bengals, that are right here. We got some soccer guys that to go see our soccer team here, a professional soccer team. There's so many things to do here that our guys love to do. Our offensive line last year, they had competition playing golf. There's a bunch of golf courses here. So to me, we're going to talk about connection on our team. They're able to connect outside of this building with all the different things that we can do in the city. Going out to eat, O-line and quarterbacks, they love doing that. Going to Jeff Ruby's.
Well, I guess so.
Well,
it's a different world now.
It's a different world now,
Yeah.
And so, but they're able to do that because we we're in a city that has some outstanding restaurants and outstanding things to do. So that's an easy sell on the outside of these walls right here in our building.
Coach, we appreciate the time. Good luck the rest of the offseason. We look forward to getting back to football here soon.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.